Breaking down Spiral. So for the last breakdown video I did, which was for 2020, I focused 100% on the production side. I don't necessarily want to do that. I figure it might be a little bit more interesting if I cover a few different things. So let's get into it. But I'll start with a bit of production. So I specifically remember before I started this song, I knew I wanted to make like a danceable song. A lot of the songs I'd made recently sounded kind of sad, like still danceable, but I just wanted this one to be a little bit more vibey and kind of upbeat. So I started off with this little instrumental loop. So on one track, I've got my kick. On another track, I've literally just thrown on a snare, a hat, and a clap. You're not really supposed to put all of those things on the same track, but I did it. It turned out fine. And then I had my bass line, which was just made out of a preset from one of the synths in Studio One, and this little melody. I threw that melody on like so many different instruments. All of them are made from pretty basic synthesis. It might just be a saw wave or a square wave with some like LFO modulation. This particular one at the start, it's a saw wave mixed with a square wave, but mostly saw wave. It's got some reverb. The cutoff is being modulated by an LFO, and the rate of that same LFO, which is controlling the cutoff, is being controlled by another LFO. For those of you who don't know what an LFO is, it's basically a thing that makes things go up and down, is the best way that I could describe it. The rest of the production kind of wrote itself. All of the different segments came together really quickly. The bass line in the section that immediately follows that is basically the same, but way more distorted. The first bass is already fat enough, but then listen to this. Vocals for the song were recorded on this, a little Blue Snowball mic with a pop filter. Guys, that's not a mic that you should be using to record vocals, but I have a lot of love for it. Like, I recorded a bunch of songs on this mic. It's very MIDI. The high end isn't very rich. I would describe it like that. But it's a nice little, like, affordable mic. There's a lot of vocal layering going on. For instance, here you've got one central vocal, two wide vocals, and then you've also got a harmony. This middle bit is basically just two lead vocals layered up with some ad-libs where I was just kind of whispering. The section after that, I have a bunch of like harmonies going on. The lead vocal also had a flanger on it. I bottled up too many feelings and got heated and said shit I didn't mean to ya. If you don't know what a flanger is, you could probably hear it giving the vocal that little effect. That's like one normal vocal layered up with a vocal that has a guitar amp plug-in on it. This little bit that comes just before the vocal comes in, like that noise there. Initially it wasn't intentional. It was just kind of some background noise. It might have been me like whacking something on the table, and it just amplified it and it made it sound kind of cool. Okay, enough about production. I want to talk about kind of how I wrote the song. Actually, the song kind of came together in a couple of days. Like, I made that little instrumental loop I showed you at the beginning a long time ago. One day in the middle of summer, I was like, okay, let me actually try and write something to that. And then the next day, I just finished off the whole song. The song is about, basically, the main character had an argument with someone who's very close to him. Instead of wanting to resolve that argument, he's decided, okay, I'm gonna try and forget about it, not deal with my problems, and instead just go to a club and drown out my problems with substances, etc, etc. It's a concept that has been done before, but I gave it kind of my own take on it. So let me actually break down some of the lyrics. Can't sit still with your words ringing in my brain. Your bottle's getting polished for a hop off the train. Basically meaning the main character, he's holding a bottle of alcohol and he's going to finish it before he gets off the train to the club. I decided to go with your bottle just because it sounded like, the guy's angry. Like, he just had an argument. Like, he's taking the bottle that belongs to the person he's had an argument with. I really didn't need to say your. I think before the line was, this bottle's getting polished. But yeah, I decided to go with your. It just sounded a little bit like saltier. I fucked up again, made my head split like Pangea. Been trying to self-reflect, but I just get angrier. So the angrier line came way before the Pangea line. Been trying to self-reflect, but I just get angrier. That was just kind of like me trying to paint the mental state of a guy who's just like blinded by whatever he's just been arguing about. The only reason that I included the Pangea line is because it rhymes with angrier. But then I thought it could just be like a cool thing to have in the song, just like, oh, split like Pangea. That's one thing I'll say. Everyone seems to think that it's head spin like Pangea. I'm sorry I don't enunciate. It's split. Okay? Pangea, that's nothing to do with spinning. Okay? Pangea is splitting. For those of you who don't know, Pangea is what all of the continents were before tectonic activity and stuff. I could ride on a spiral down and out, way out, way out. £5 on the door, let me drown you out, way out, way out. So I could ride on a spiral down and out. It was just me looking for a way of saying like, I'm on a downward spiral. £5 on the door, let me drown you out. That's basically saying the door tickets to the club are £5. £5 on the door, so I'm drowning you out in the club, basically. Run away, no suitcase, back for the bar or front for the bass. Butterflies off a stranger's face. If I loosen up, she could fill your place. This whole bit was literally just me basically finding rhymes for ace, disgrace, bass. Run away, no suitcase was actually the last line that I came up with for this hook section. It's not my favorite line in terms of like, I don't think it's great writing, but I do kind of like how it sounds. It's kind of saying, okay, I'm the runaway, like I'm running away from my problems, no suitcase. Obviously, I'm going to a club, I don't have a suitcase. It's that simple. Then when I say butterflies off a stranger's face, if I loosen up, she could fill your place. So by that I mean, oh, look, attractive people in the club. If I potentially maybe loosen up a little bit more and get a little bit more waved, I could talk to those attractive people who could fill the place, the person who I had an argument with. That's not supposed to be like a, oh, like I don't need you anymore type of line. It's more supposed to be like a, oh, I think I've lost this person for good. I need to find a replacement. Can't sit still with your words ringing in my brain, and I got no bottle for the 6 a.m. train. So this bit just loops straight back around to the first line of the song. It's basically supposed to be like, oh, I'm still thinking about your words on my brain, and the only difference is this time I don't have a bottle. Like my alcohol's run out. There's nothing I can do. I have to like sit there and face my problems. There you have it. That's Spiral. Now enjoy this outro.